Welcome to the Idle Talk podcast. My name is Peyton, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jacob. This week, we are finally getting the cast revealed for Survivor 50. And so leading up to the official cast reveal on Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and submit our official predictions for this Survivor 50 cast. Now, I will say a lot of these predictions are going to be based on rumors that have been going around and just in general conversation that has been seen online. And so if you have been avoiding rumors or don't want to know any people that may have been heavily rumored to be in the season, I would say probably don't listen to this. But there hasn't been anyone that's been leaked, so nothing is technically a spoiler. But these are heavily going to be some people that are heavily rumored, but also just a lot of players that I think have a very strong chance to appear because CBS loves them, Jeff loves them, and I think very strong chance they'll appear on the list Wednesday.
Yeah. Just to clarify, these are not our personal choices. These are not our personal
Correct.
opinions of who we want to see on Survivor 50.
We'll discuss that later.
Yes. So this is not a fan cast. This is just who we think are the most likely people to be on the season based on what we have seen on Twitter.
Yeah, there have been a few different sources who have really sent up rumored casts online that have been going around, and really there's been two sources that have been putting out rumored cast lists, and they now have started to kind of converge and look the same, and there are a few names that differ on each one, but there are a lot of names floating to the top. And so some of these are not surprises at all. Some of them pretty surprising that we're seeing them appear. But I think that it's worth going ahead and discussing some of these names before they come out on Wednesday, who we think actually will appear on Wednesday, who we think is just maybe smoke and mirrors. And then after we get that cast reveal, we will react to it and break it down, decide, okay, who do we think is a good inclusion? Who would we rather have on that cast? And, maybe make some predictions for that season. It'll be a year away almost, but it's really what we're looking forward to. Like 49's in between then and now, but we're really looking forward to Survivor 50.
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to Rizgod, though.
I was about to say, don't forget about Rizgod, who we're probably going to talk about in this.
We will talk
episode.
about Rizgod. I think we just dive right in.
I was
we have
going
a
to say
few
what
different
our
tiers
were.
Yeah.
So we have tiers based on who we think is going to make it. So we have our first tier is locks. So who we think is 100% locked in to be on Survivor 50, and then we have would bet money on. So people we think have a high upside of being on the season. And then we have rumored, but we can see it. So essentially like they've been they're in the conversation and we think that them being on the season is a possibility. Then we have rumored, can't see it. Same thing, they've been talked about, but we don't really see them being on the season as reality. And then a final tier of people who have been confirmed cut, but we believe should be on the season, or rumored that they were cut, but should be on the season.
Yep. All right.
So that's more of a personal opinion category.
Yeah, that's one that it's like online, everyone's saying they're not going to be on the season, but we're still holding out hope that maybe they will be announced on Wednesday.
Yes. So So I guess we'll just jump right into it and start with our locks. So I have 5 people in my locks category.
Okay. I have 8 people that
8?
I consider to be a lock.
Okay.
I have 5 men, 3 women.
I have 2 men and 3 women.
That's crazy to me because Jeff loves his
Survivor men. Yeah, I know.
And
I think I could.
4 of my 5 all are in kind of the same category of like these are Jeff Probst's guys, basically.
I think that there are a few in my would bet money on that could transition into my locks category. But go ahead and read. I'm sure that the 2 men that I have in my locks are in yours. So go ahead and read me who your locked men are.
So I think Colby Donaldson, lock. Jeff's all-time favorite Survivor player. Jonathan Young from 42 is Jeff's favorite man from the new era and Survivor Challenge Beast. I think he's a lock to be on this season. Whether we need him or not, I think he's a lock. I think Ozzy is a lock to be here. I don't think we need him for a fifth time, but CBS loves him. Jeff loves him. I think he's just... Well, I don't know how much Jeff loves him. CBS loves him. Mm-hmm. So I think Ozzy's going to be back, fan favorite. Christian Hubicki from David versus Goliath, lock. And that one, so excited. Absolutely, Christian will be back. And then my final lock, I think Q Burdett from Survivor 46, I think is locked in, will be on Survivor 50. I don't see a world where those 5 players are not on Survivor 50.
Yeah, I have Colby and Christian Hibicki in my locks. The ones that you mentioned were ones that I have in my would bet money, and I could very easily be convinced to transition them to my locked category. But
yeah,
I think if we're like ranking them within the tiers, my most locked is Colby.
Yeah, I actually have Colby and Christian 1 and 2. I think they're the most locked. And then I think I have Jonathan at 3. I think Jonathan's right there. I think he's the next most locked to get in terms of being the first new era guy that Jeff's going to call up is going to be Jonathan. And then Ozzy is the CBS phone in. I think Ozzy's just locked in. If Ozzy wants to play, Ozzy's getting in. And then Q is just big personality, gonna be in. And I think these 5 are 1,000% on the season. And if one of them is not revealed on Wednesday, I will be shocked. And that'll be worth talking about.
Yes.
The women. How many did you say you have?
I have 3 women. Do you want me
okay,
to
I also have 3.
Okay, so my first woman is Suri Fields.
Okay, I have her in my list.
In your lock?
Yes, in my lock. Yep.
Yeah, Suri. Honestly, I'm surprised Suri is as locked as she is, but she's been circulated in every single rumored cast. Like, she has not left the rumor, and CBS loves her. And
they
she's
want
good.
her to
she's
win
amazing.
so bad.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
They've tried to get her to
bad.
win so many times.
Yeah, this will be her 5th time playing.
And I'm really surprised that they kind of want her back so much, considering that she did Big Brother, Traitors, and Aussie Survivor.
Yeah,
and Jeff is doesn't like when people do other things.
She's allowed to because she's Survivor royalty.
Yeah.
And that's where she's an exception to the rule.
Yeah. So I have Suri Fields, Angelina Keeley.
Yeah.
And Stephanie LaGrossa.
Yeah, so those are my 3. I had them in a different order. I have Stephanie LaGrossa at 1 out of those 3. I think Stephanie LaGrossa is the most locked in to come back out of those 3. Angelina Keeley is the one that I want the most out of those because
she's who everybody wants back the most. She's so fun. Well, amazing television.
Yeah, and because she's only played once. Whereas Stephanie, this will be her 4th time playing. Suri, this will be her 5th time playing.
Yeah.
And so it's like I love Stephanie, right? I just finished Palau. I'm in the middle of Guatemala right now. Have seen Heroes versus Villains. She didn't last very long in that season, but we won't discuss that one. She's really great in Palau and Guatemala. She's a fantastic player. Suri, obviously, Survivor royalty. Would these 2 spots be better served going to someone who's only played once, maybe twice?
Yes.
I think absolutely. I would probably rather do that. But I understand they want to get as many people to watch the season as possible. And so these are kind of your old head players that are going to bring back in Survivor fans who maybe stopped watching in the new era, bring them back into the fold.
Mm-hmm.
Because Suri hasn't played since Game Changers, and Stephanie hasn't played since Heroes vs. Villains, since Season 20. And so there are probably a lot of people that will tune in when Stephanie plays. Same thing, Colby Colby, it'll be his
Yeah.
first time playing since Hero versus Villains. He's going to draw
I was just
a
like, Colby.
big audience.
If my parents knew Colby was playing, they might tune in.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that will watch just for those players. And so it makes a lot of sense that they're coming back. But I do wish we had some. It's just I don't love that it's like, all right, do we need players to be playing for their 4th, 5th time?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
All right.
But I agree 100%. I think those are the 3 locks as far as women go. I'm with you there.
I'm surprised we completely agreed on the women. I mean, I feel like it was kind of obvious.
I had one person that I was teetering back and forth, and I ultimately settled on her being in, would bet money on it.
I think I know
but
who it is.
she was really, really close to being a lock. And so I say we go right into women for would bet money on it. Mm-hmm. The one who I was so close to putting it a lock, I actually put her there, took her back and forth, was D, who I was really close.
That's not.
I know.
Is not who
I know who it's. I know that's not who you were thinking. I think who you're thinking, I actually don't even have in would bet money on it. I think I know who you're thinking about. Because I think we're going to defer in this category. I think now is where we're going to start to have some different opinions on who we're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
D is one that I am so close to thinking is a lock to come back. The only thing that's giving me pause is that she's supposed to be on the next season of The Challenge. And so doing The Challenge and Survivor 50 back-to-back is kind of a lot to do. But I think if anyone can do it, D probably can. I just think D is such she's the best winner of the new era. She co-hosted On Fire, so CBS likes her, Jeff loves her. I think CBS absolutely wants her back. It's just a matter of if she can work it into her schedule or not. And so I think she is a lock if it works out time-wise. And then the other women I've got Chrissy from Heroes versus Hustlers versus Healers.
Yeah.
Or Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, whatever order it is. I've got Say from Survivor 48 as someone I would probably bet money on showing up. And then I'm kind of cheating, but I think it is a either or. I think it's one or the other, Rachel or Genevieve from 47. I don't think we get both. There have been rumors showing both of them. I don't think we're going to get both. I think it's either going to be Rachel or it's going to be Genevieve from Survivor 47.
I do not have Rachel anywhere. I did not put Rachel on my casting prediction, but I have Genevieve in my would bet money.
Yeah, I think Genevieve, there's a really good shot. I do think, though, I think Rachel has a really good shot because, like I just said, same thing with D, hosted On Fire. I think there's a good chance that everyone who co-hosted On Fire appears this season. I think there's a good chance that every single one of them shows up. I have everyone who co-hosted On Fire on this list. In some capacity.
I have everybody except for Rachel.
Yeah, and so that's where it's like I feel like I have to include Rachel because I have everyone else. It feels like too strong of a trend. Like they clearly liked them the best of everyone on that season to have them co-host their podcast. And so I think that, but I don't really see Rachel and Genevieve both being on the same season.
Honestly, though, there's so many duos in the rumored cast. I wouldn't even be surprised if at this point, the amount of overlap and intertwining relationships, they are clearly not caring about that.
I agree. I think they think that makes for interesting and good TV, which it probably does, but I would rather that in a New Era All-Star season and not Survivor 50.
Yes, I completely agree. We are double dipping from so many seasons. The rumored cast is double, the people that we have is double dipping from so many seasons. Yeah. And I wish it was we'll talk about this more whenever we get the final cast on Wednesday, but right now it just doesn't feel like it's super representative of the entire eras of Survivor.
Yeah, and honestly though, that's pretty typical of Survivor, all-star Survivor seasons or these big event returning seasons where they're all returning casts. So All-Stars, Heroes versus Villains, Game Changers, those are really the main ones. I'm not counting Winners at War. Those all they, in terms of like when they pull from casts of the past, they are biased towards more recent seasons always, because typically those are going to be the seasons that player or that viewers have seen more of. And so they always pull from kind of all seasons, but there is a heavy skew towards more recent seasons. And so I think that like that trend is going to continue. I would not be surprised if the breakdown is 50-50. 50% new era, 50% non-new era. And that's going to mean 50% from 9 seasons of Survivor or 8 seasons, right? 41, 42, 43, 44.
9. Well, it depends if they pull from 49 or not.
Okay, yeah. I had to like, I don't know why I had to count, because I was like, if you don't count 40, yeah. So yeah, 9 seasons could be 50% of the cast, and then the other 40 could be the other 50%. Like, that seems insane, but I think that's probably how they're gonna do it. I think that'll end up being pretty close to the breakdown.
Yeah. Well, my women were for would bet money on were Genevieve, Chrissy, and Say. So we were still pretty similar for that. But my men, I have a lot of men that you had in locks. So I had Jonathan Young, Rick Devens, Ozzy, and Q. So basically everybody that you had in locks except for, I think, Rick Devens was the only one who you didn't have in lock.
Yeah. So you're adding in, so you've got basically, if we exclude the guys we've already mentioned, you've got Rick Devens from Edge of Extinction.
Yes.
I have Rick Devens in my would bet money on it. He's at the top of that. I also have 2 more that I would bet money on showing up on the list.
Is one of them Charlie?
Yep. So I've got Charlie Davis from 46. And then my third one. Do you know who the other man that I would bet money on showing up?
Joe.
Yep. Joe Hunter from Survivor 48. I'd bet money that he shows up on Wednesday.
I think if there is a man from 48, I think he is the most likely.
I'm thinking I just don't see a world where he gets the edit he got and he doesn't. Like, we'll talk about this in our Survivor review. 48 finale and like season review, but I just don't see a world where he gets that edit and isn't coming back.
Yeah,
in 50. I just don't. Yeah, I think that they loved him too much over there at CBS. I think they want him back. He's sort of an old school player too, so I think he would actually get along really well with some of these. Like, I could see Joe and Colby hitting it off so well.
They seem like birds of a feather.
And that's why Jeff loves him. Like, loves Joe. He reminds him of the good old days.
Well, since we're talking about Joe and Charlie, they are the only 2 men in my rumored can see it category.
Man, we're shifted, because I have 3 men, and rumored, I can see them showing up. So, rumored, I can see it for the men. Mike White, David versus Goliath. He's been rumored to show up. I can totally see it. I'm not going to bet money on it, but I can see it. Like, if he showed up, I'm not going to be surprised. That just makes 3 players from David versus Goliath. That to me is a little surprising, but I mean, I think CBS would want Mike White before they would want Christian, and I think Jeff wants Christian, and so I feel like CBS would be like, all right, let's get Mike White there. And so if Mike White's available, I kind of think he could show up. I think rumored, and I can see it, Coach Wade, I think is probably there for his 4th season. I could totally see that. And then it's been rumored, and I can totally see it, someone from Survivor 49. Probably Riz God.
Yeah.
Apparently is the guy from Survivor 49, is what everyone's saying. But I do think that it's very likely, and I have the same thing for the women. I think it's very likely that there is a man and a woman from Survivor 49 in this season. I think on the cast list, they'll probably just say Survivor 49 male, Survivor 49 female, to be announced at Survivor 49 finale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's probably how they'll say it. But this is not something that is out of the ordinary to bring someone in immediately after, like in the next season.
I mean, it's rare and hard because you literally just played and you're having to go do it again, but it's not unheard of.
Well, I mean, the last 2 times they did a big monumental returning season that wasn't all winners. Well, actually, no. So they didn't bring back, because Tommy wasn't in that. So he didn't go back for that, which that probably would have been weird anyways, because nobody would have known him. So that would have been kind of a silly one. But All-Stars, Rupert went from Pearl Islands to All-Stars, and it was in Panama again, right? Because they do them in the same place when they're shooting them. And then for Heroes vs. Villains, it was Russell. Just went straight. It was in Samoa, back to back, right? So, like, that's not uncommon. And if you have a standout player in that season, it makes sense to bring them over into the next one, because odds are they're going to be doing so much heavy promo for Survivor 50 during Survivor 49. Like, people are going to be watching Survivor 49 to lead up into 50. They're going to be trying to get all these fans back into the fold to come watch Survivor 50 that have been away from Survivor, and they want to lead them up into 50 with 49. So first of all, they need 49 to be good. But if they can have some players that people really like and connect with, and then be like, oh, by the way, they're going to be in 50, that might even increase interest and viewership in 50. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Who do you have for your women that have been rumored and you can see them showing up?
So I have D. I think the reason I have D in the rumored can't see it, because I agree with what you're saying about her busy schedules. I just am curious to see how much how many winners they are going to put on the show. So that's my thing, is because right now, looking at all the people that I have, I only have.
I think she's the only winner.
That's
that
what
I'm
I'm saying.
predicting.
She's the only winner I'm predicting, or actually, I have. Well, yeah. As far as like rumored can see it up, she's the only winner, and so I think it would. For one, it would be dumb if she was the only winner on the show, because then she's like the biggest target out there from day
That's
one.
right. I think there's going to be 2 winners.
So there would need to be, if you're going to put D, there needs to be another winner, which I do have one other winner on my list, but they're in the can't
And that's
see it
where I had
category.
Rachel being like, could be Rachel
So-
in there too.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if D ended up not being on the season, if they decide to go the route of no winners, because I think if you do winners, you need to have at least like 3 or 4. I think 2 is hard. I think 2 is still really hard, especially if they put the winner that I think they're going to put on. No, besides D. So
I mean, you think it's going to be Kyle?
yeah. So I am skeptical. But moving on. My next one is Camilla. I think she made a really big impression in 48, and I could see her coming on, especially if they put Kyle, because they seem to like be wanting to do several duos in this season. And then I have Aubrey in my can see it, which CBS and Jeff all love Aubrey. I think she had a great first season. Honestly, I don't need to see her back again. She kind of was lackluster in Edge of Extinction, but
And Game Changers.
yeah. So I don't need to see her back, but CBS and Jeff love her. And then my last one is Jenna Lewis.
Yeah, so I have, in my rumored can see it, I have Aubrey Bracco, I have Jenna Lewis, and then I have Survivor 49 female. Those are the 3 that I have there. I have Camilla down lower in the rumored can't see it.
Okay.
And then obviously I had D higher that I'd bet money on it. And so I mean that can move us down into the next one in a second. But I guess talking about these while we're here, like I agree. I think Aubrey, I can totally see her showing up. I think like people really like Aubrey. I think
people
like
just
Aubrey,
really like Aubrey because they think she was robbed. Like, I mean, she was a great player in her season, but a big reason people keep wanting her to come back is because they think she was robbed and they want her to win.
yes, I agree. I think if you're looking at Aubrey through the rose-colored glasses of her time on Koorong, Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty, it's like, oh my God, Aubrey needs to come back and get like revenge. But then you look at her time on Game Changers and Edge of Extinction, it's like she didn't really do a whole lot there. And so it's like I don't know what else
she has to offer.
Yeah, we can see on like a fourth time. But I mean, it's a new game now is the argument. Is like any of these players, I mean, that is the most compelling case for someone like Colby, right? Is that the game is so different now. I'm kind of curious to see what he does in a new era game. If his brain just explodes, or like I just don't know.
The clip from, or just like a GIF of him in Heroes versus Villains of Colby, and it's like, imagine trying to explain knowledge is power to him.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like I would kill to have Rupert on this season because I cannot fathom what his reaction would be to what Survivor has become. Because it's not about surviving anymore. And that was what Rupert loved more than anything, was surviving. And I cannot imagine what he would make of the new era. And I think that would be really freaking fun. But I know that like he just doesn't fit the new era design, so I just don't think was even considered probably. But I think Aubrey is interesting from just coming into a new game. I think if she comes into this one, I think it's got to be her last season. Unless she dominates, then maybe she comes back at some point down the line if they do another returnee season. But I kind of think that this is a send-off to a lot of these iconic players. And it's like, all right, this is our last chance to see some of these people because any future returnee seasons are going to basically be all new era. And so it's like, all right, who do we want to see one more time? Which makes me upset about some of the people talk about like rumored cut that should have been cast, because there are some players that it's like, if we're never going to see them, and like I would really like to see them here. And then Jenna Lewis is one where it's like, I desperately hope she's on this season because I think you've got to have someone from Borneo on the cast. She was on Borneo, she was on All Stars. You got to have someone from season 1 on Survivor 50. I just think that one, it makes for an awesome narrative. 2, I need to see her brain explode. She's never played the game with idols. I think out of all of these, she would be the only player that we've talked about so far that has never played the game with idols. Everyone else has played at least once when there were idols in the game. And so that would be so interesting to see. And so I need at least one player who has played only pre-season 11. And like she's one of the ones who it makes the most sense. And there's another player who apparently is not going to be on the season, Rob Sesternino, who we'll talk about in a little bit, who he never played in the season with idols, who I desperately would want on because like it's the same thing. He only played an old era game, but he knows a lot about the current game. And I want to see how much people would view him as a threat because everybody knows who he is, but he's never played Survivor in the modern era. He played when it was just camping. Like it's not the same thing. And so I think that it'd be so interesting to have Jenna there. And then obviously, I have the Survivor 49 female. And then I guess moving down, I don't have Camilla in the same tier. I just don't see Camilla and Say. I just don't see them having Say and Camilla and Kyle and Joe. I just don't see this many people from 48 in there. And I know there's been like so many people rumored. I think there's one woman from 48, and I think it's going to be Say, which is why I have Camilla out in the I don't see it.
Yeah.
So if I were going to say Camilla's in, I would have to take Say out. And personally, I think Say, I would be more inclined to say that I see Say that I see Say in season 50.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I have Camilla in rumored can't see it, alongside Emily Flippin from 45.
I know. I have Emily there too, and that makes me so sad.
And Tiffany Nicole Irvin from
That is
46.
Those are also the two women that I have and can't see it.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I adore Emily Flippin, and I still really hope that she makes it on somehow. But she said that she doesn't want to play anymore, and I think if Jeff has his way, Dee will be on before Emily.
I agree.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah, I just think that Dee is very likely to be on. I think Emily's probably on if she wants to be on. I just don't know if she wants to be on or not.
Yeah.
And so I kind of think everyone rumoring and talking about her being on is just hope dicting
the hype
that
of
she's
like,
on.
fan casting.
Yeah. And so I have a hard time seeing it. If she's on, I will celebrate. I'll be happy that she's on for sure, because that's exciting. But I have a hard time seeing a world where she makes it on the cast, because it just seems like there's been too many things leading up to this that would indicate that she doesn't really want to play again, at least this soon after 45.
Yeah. Well, my men for rumored can't see it are Kyle Frazier, Coach, and Mike White. I said Kyle because we already have Joe and Say, and I think having 3 from 48 would be crazy. I do think Kyle was a great winner, all things considered, regardless of my feelings on the season as a whole. I think Kyle was a very good winner.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in our finale season breakdown.
But I have a hard time seeing him on the season. And then for Coach, the times that Coach has been a good player in Survivor was when they crafted a cast for Coach. And so I find it hard to think that they're going to put Coach on here when it potentially could be a season that he does not gel good with, because when Coach isn't with a good cast that helps him, like make him who he is, he's not entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I think that it is. So Coach was at his coachiest in South Pacific, right? Because they basically built that cast around him. But I think like Coach also works very well in Tocantins, and I don't think they built the cast around him, because obviously that was his first season, but it was a cast that was compatible with him, and it happened to work out really well. And then, but like Heroes versus Villains, it wasn't the same as like Tocantins and South Pacific, right? Because it was, obviously at that point he has a reputation, and when you have all these returning players, the dynamics change a lot. And so I think that if Coach is there, I think the dynamics are going to be very strange. I think that I have him in can see it because I think that CBS would like to have him back because he does make very interesting television.
But he's also like old now. Like he's pretty old.
He is, but he's another one of those. It's like I kind of want to see what he would do in the new era, and I want to see what all of these like new era players, how they would react to Coach. and what he would do in this just modern age, I just don't know. And I think it's like Coach is one of those that I'm like, I could take it or leave it. I don't really need to see him a fourth time. And I'm okay if I don't see Coach again.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do get him, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see. I'm going to be like my interest is gonna be piqued because I want to, and I want to know what, like, who's on his starting tribe, because we talked about how like David was kind of giving Coach vibes, but you can give Coach vibes, but you cannot be Coach. Like, Coach is singular. And so I just cannot fathom what a season would look like with Coach on it. And there are not many players who are as unique as Coach is in the Survivor lexicon or in Survivor's like history. So that's kind of where, like, I said, like, I could see it just because if they're trying to make a crazy memorable season, throw Coach in there. Who cares if he's the first boot? He'll give you great TV for an episode. But because all they want is ratings, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, it's very clear looking at the rumored cast, they want ratings, and I don't think that they got all the people they wanted, so they started having to fill in other spots probably.
Yeah. And then just to wrap it up for Mike White, the reason I have him can't see it is because we already have 2 David versus Goliath contestants, and
that was sort of the same idea.
Having 3 would be a lot. But let's move on and talk about who has been rumored that they're cut, but we think that they should be on, and we'll finish up here. I only have women, except for I have 1 man.
Okay.
So I have 4 women to talk about, and then 1 man.
I got a long list of a bunch of people.
Okay. Well, do you just want to list them all out, and then if there's anyone in particular we want to talk about, we can talk about them? Because I feel like we could spend forever talking about who we would want to be on the season.
Yeah, so I've got, for the men, Rob Sesternino from Amazon All-Stars. I've got Sean Rector from Marquesas. Got Jesse Lopez from Survivor 43.
Jesse Lopez is my 1 man.
And I've got Jervis Peterson from Borneo and Blood versus Water. I think all 4 of them should be on this season.
I didn't think about Rob, but I would have put Rob, and my cut should be on. But Jesse Lopez was my number 1 man for I would want them to be on the season, and I'm really bummed that they're cut. But my women, I have my number 1 is Amanda Kimmel.
Yep.
The rumors are saying that she dropped and not that she was cut. I don't know if we'll ever get confirmation of that, but I heard a rumor that she dropped because of Ozzy, and I don't know if that's true or not.
I heard that she dropped because of Traitors.
Oh, like Traitors was trying to poach her? Oh, yeah. I did hear that, or you told me about it. Which, honestly, if I was her, I would rather do Traitors than be on Survivor again. Like, if it was my 3rd time going to be on it, and especially playing the new era, I think I would probably rather do something new and do Traitors. But I have Amanda, Elizabeth, I don't know how to say her last name, Filarski. Is that how you say her last name? Filarski? Something like that. From Australian Outback. Jerry Manthe from Australian Outback, All-Stars, and Heroes vs. Villains. I have this on contention if Colby is on. If Colby is, for some reason, not on the season, I don't care that Jerry isn't on it. But I think you cannot have Colby without Jerry. They have played
agree.
every single time together, and it's ridiculous that Colby is on without Jerry. And then...
They're a package deal.
Yes. And then Carolyn Widger from Survivor 44 is my last woman.
Yeah, so I had Amanda, I have Carolyn, I have Jerry. I did not include Elizabeth because I don't care to see Elizabeth. She was rumored to be the one that replaced Jerry, and then she was rumored to not be on it anymore, and then it was just like all this sort of stuff. I personally, I don't care to. I don't need Elizabeth. She's on The View. I don't need her on Survivor right now. The one that I have that you didn't have is Vesepia.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I
I didn't think about
desperately
Vesepia.
want Vesepia from Marquesas. She's played once. She won. She's never played in a game with idols. I don't understand how she has never returned. I think she's one of the best winners of all time. The more that I have watched Survivor and the more that I have gone back and like thought about her season, the more that I think she played one of the best like winning games, especially for her era. If you're going to say like who's the best winner out of the first, in the first 10 seasons, Vesepia is in the top 2 for me, I think. If you're looking at just that era of no idols, I think she's in the top 2, maybe 1. I think there's a conversation. And so like it just becomes, it's just one of those things where I don't understand how she hasn't been brought back a million times. It feels like Survivor's just dropped the ball with her. And I'm so disappointed that she's not going to be on Survivor 50.
Yeah, if there was one winner we could pick to come back, it would definitely be her.
Yeah, I feel like her and Sean, both from Marquesas, should both be back. Like, that's a duo you need back. Like, I think that you could do a whole Survivor 50 of duos, and that's one that you gotta have come back, those two. And I think that would be so compelling.
Well, we will be getting the official cast list in approximately, 40 hours? Something like that?
At the time of recording this, yes.
Yes. So I'm super excited. I hope that we don't end up being disappointed by the cast.
I guess this is kind of how I wanted to end it. Who is one player that we haven't talked about that you hope we're surprised, like that we get a surprise announcement and see their name come up on
That we
Wednesday?
have not mentioned this episode?
Yeah, like this is just like shot in the dark. Like if you could just pick one player that's gonna show up on Wednesday, they haven't been rumored, they're just their name and their face just show up. What name is gonna make you flip out the most and is gonna make you the most excited for Survivor 50?
Jelinski.
Really?
No.
Okay. It doesn't
Let me
have to be
think.
the name that would make you like the most happy. It doesn't have to be like your favorite player. It could be just the name that's going to make you the most excited for Survivor 50.
Let me think for a minute.
Because I think there's like a few ways to go about it. I think you could be like, okay, who's going to be the most chaotic? Who could be the most chaotic player
That's
you
what
could
I'm
put
saying.
there?
Like,
Who could
imagine,
be-
imagine if they just pulled out Russell Hand.
That's what I was like. That's one. There's one end of the spectrum where it's just Russell Hance's face shows up, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Like,
where did that come
do
from?
I want Russell Hansen season 50? No. But
Would that be
would that be
insane?
insane? Absolutely. And
But
I
then-
would be so sad.
But then, like, okay, there's like another, and like, okay, what if it's just freaking Richard Hatch?
No, I
Or,
was thinking
you know,
Richard Hatch too.
Like, that would be pretty nuts. Or you just get, like someone else from like an early season, or would it be, one of our favorites from a recent season who were like, man, we really wish that they got more time, or we think they could have won, or, I'm really curious, like if there's someone that you're like, man, I really think that if their name showed up, I would immediately be, it doesn't matter who the rest of the cast is, this is going to be an exciting season.
Honestly, I will say, as far as the new era goes, the person I am most hopeful and excited to see is Genevieve. If I'm being completely honest, I think she is who I am most anticipated and hoping that she's on. I think if she is on, I'll be happy with whoever the other new era players are.
That doesn't answer my question, though, because we talked about her.
I know, but I don't know
So
who
an
else I
example,
would pick
an
besides
example for
that.
me, right? Okay, so if I'm saying from the new era, if Cassidy just popped up out of the blue, I'd be pretty freaking pumped because her name's not been thrown around at all, and I'd be like, okay, that's pretty legit. I am excited to see her back again because that came out of left field,
I would
and I
okay.
wasn't expecting that.
It's if actually if I could pick anyone from the new era, barring everything that's happened, Carson.
Carson would be a very fun player to have back if you're looking at it purely from the game, like not thinking about
Anything
outside
that's
the
happened
game,
outside the game.
his little puzzle things.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking pre-new era, old era, the old age. What do we call it?
Like
I don't even know what we call the OG Survivor. I think what would be I think it's got to be Rupert for me. I legitimately I cannot think of a better player to just like make my brain explode and start wondering what is gonna go down like during that season than Rupert being out there. And so I think it's for me it would have to be like if Rupert showed up, I would be screaming and hollering. I would lose my mind.
Let me think. I don't know. I feel like my answer would have to be who would be like the most jaw dropping would have to be Russell.
That'd be pretty jaw dropping.
Yeah.
Would Parvati surprise you?
Yeah.
Would
She's
Boston
just
Rob surprise you?
Yeah. They've just played so much.
So is Sari.
I know, but at least she hasn't won. That's the only like thing saving her. Parvati and Rob have both won, and they've played so much.
Would a random Sandra or Tony appearance surprise you?
I was thinking Sandra, and I thought about Tony, but I was like, Tony, because they've both won twice, so it'd be crazy having a double winner on like any double winners on the season.
If you had Sandra or Tony, like Sandra's played after having won twice. If you had Tony back, and he's not voted out immediately, I just can't even fathom how big his head's going to get and thinking, I made it past the first vote. I'm going to win.
As long as his tribe doesn't lose immunity. I have been seeing we're kind of running this episode longer than we anticipated, but one last thing I want to say is I have been seeing the rumored cast list right now is 22 people. And I don't know if that means we have 4.
It's gonna be 24.
I know. If we have 24 people, how on earth is this going to be done in 26 days?
So here's my thought. I think it's gonna be.
I think every pre-merge boot is the only one. Like if they split into 3 tribes,
I think it's
only one tribe is only going to be able to be safe, and that is
I think that's how they have to do it.
That is going to be so dumb. Dumb.
I think that's how they have to do it. I think it's going to be 24 players, 3 tribes of 8, 1 tribe safe, 2 tribes to tribal council. But that becomes so crazy because, like, if those 2 tribes lose twice in a row, now, they're down 2 members going into a merge. You have to swap every other episode.
Yeah, if it legit ends up being a 24-person season, I just don't know how they're going to do it. Logistically, it makes no sense. And from an editing perspective, so like there's going to be so many that get purpled because you just can't focus on that many people.
Edge of extinction, baby.
I hate that they're going to have this many people and so many fan favorites that are not going to get a lot of screen time if they have 24 people. So I think it's going to be... 50 could be great, but I think that there is a lot of reason to be nervous for it.
Oh, I am more nervous than optimistic, for sure. I really hope, and I think that it is like a less than a 1% chance. But I really hope that they're smoke screening this 26-day stuff. Because they've been pushing really hard saying that it's going to be 26 days. Like, they have put out this thing. They're like, how many players is it going to be? You know, like the 7,000 people that played Survivor or whatever it is, or 700 people that played Survivor. Yeah, not 7,000, right? 700.
It's definitely not 7,000.
Yeah. They're like, 700 people have played. How many? And they were like, blank players, 26 days, one Survivor, you know, fill in the blank. You know, they did that whole thing. And like, everybody's like, oh man, they're saying 26 days. I guess we know now it's 26 days. Like, I'm holding out hope that they're just blowing smoke and trying to really play up this ruse to make it a really cool reveal. I think that would be the coolest thing Jeff has ever done. If they can keep it a secret and then we get out there and I don't think it's going to be 39 days, but we get out there and it's
32.
Give me 30 days. Give me 4 more. I don't care. Give me a month, 30 days, 31 days, whatever. 1 month, 1 Survivor. That sounds pretty lit. Just give me that. And that's better than what we currently have. That would be so cool. I think there is literally like less than a 1% chance that happens. But I'm still going to hold out hope because I think the alternative
is much
so
worse.
Grim. And so I think you need extra days.
I think the alternative is like potentially the downfall of Survivor.
It feels like they better come up with something like they're going to have to change the game in a way that is very compelling, because I think if they stick to the current format and then they do 26 days, 24 people, and they're basically voting out a person a day from the beginning, and you're seeing 2 people leave every episode, I just think they're going to piss off so many people, especially people who are going to come back to Survivor. Like, imagine someone coming back to Survivor for the first time after 10 years to see Colby, and he leaves in the first episode and they didn't see him much at all because they're having to fill the screen time with 24 people. That person's probably never going to watch Survivor ever again because they're going to be like, oh my God, Survivor's awful.
Yeah.
And now, like, what was the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really hope that they do something massive. And like Survivor 50, I think is a make or break season for the franchise.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of a good way to wrap it up, as grim as it is. But
balls in your court, Jeffrey.
Yeah. And he's calling this season in the hands of the fans. So if it's a bust, he's going to blame it on us.
It's not even in our hands. We didn't get to pick the cast.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. We were trying to make it like 30 minutes, but then we ended up talking for almost an hour. So we hope you enjoyed nonetheless. And if you did, we would really appreciate a rating/review, as it helps our podcast grow. Additionally, you can follow us wherever you are listening to this podcast so you can stay up to date whenever we release new episodes. Follow us on social media at Idle Talk Podcast on Twitter/X, Instagram, and TikTok. And we will catch you in the next one.